I've restarted recording this like 3 times because I'm a big goober. This morning I had a video recorded, ready to go, and everything, and it turns out for the spoilers for today, because I was letting them build up a little bit because there was like, oh, three, they showed off three, boom, bam, no big deal. I was like, yeah, that's not really enough to sit and make a whole video on. Some people did, which is fine. I'm not calling anyone out here. Um, But I was like, I'm gonna let them go a little bit so I can actually get a whole good video out of this. And it looks like they done spoiled a lot. They printed buddy lands in the freaking Commander precons. This is brand new to me. I checked it at work not all too long ago, and I assumed this was gonna be the case because they showed off the one for Cadena, the Sunken Hollow here, and that's awesome. So we have a whole lot of and the filter lands here. So we have a whole lot of spoilers to talk about really quick. I'm not going to spend too much time on all of it because there are so many. And wow, let's just dive into this. Like I said, we got the freaking buddy lands here. You know, the ones that enter the battlefield tapped unless you control two or more basics. I think those are buddy lands. Or there's a check lands. They're good lands. They are great lands. They're not the best, obviously, but I have all of these in my commander decks, as many as I can at least, because they're budget friendly and they're really good. And it looks like we got some new art. I am loving this prairie stream art. Holy cow! Something about floating uh land structures just kind of does it for me. Don't remember this little like I love cave openings in the ceiling too. I love that crap. This looks fine too. I can't spend all this time on this art. It's all really good though. There's a lot of new art today and a lot of incredible cards to talk about. Gosh, let's just go, dude. I'm sorry. I'm this is a whole lot. Thought Sponge. This is a newer card, and it's kind of bonkers actually. Thought Sponge, 3 generic, 1 blue. It's a creature sponge. However many of those there are. I love the art. Makes me think of that thing from Metroid. Has flash. It's a 1/1. When it enters the battlefield, it enters the battlefield with a number of 1/1 counters on it equal to the greatest number of cards an opponent has drawn this turn. Nakusar, hello. This is your new best friend. When it dies, draw cards equal to its power. What? That's pretty damn. Oh, I don't think I said it had flash, but it has flash. Stratus Dancer. You might know what this is. I'm pretty sure this is a reprint. It's one of the Megamorph cards, and it has flying. When it dies, or excuse me, not when it dies, when Stratus Dancer is turned face up, counter target instant or sorcery. This literally makes me think of like a Yu-Gi-Oh! I don't think this is a newer card like I said. I think it's a reprint, but it feels like a Yu-Gi-Oh! Card, like a trap card or something. And Magic has trap cards, but I would love it if they did more stuff like this. For some reason, I just think this is really cool. It's cool, man. Um, Kiru Spell Snatcher? Sure, it's a Naga wizard. My Naga, more wizards and Nagas going on here. It has Morph again. When it's turned faced up, counter target spell. If that spell is countered this way, exile instead of putting it into its owner's graveyard, you may cast that card without paying its mana cost for as long as the card remains exiled. Boom. Boom. It's a big boy though. I mean, 3 generic and 1 blue to cast that. The morph for the so you pay the 3. By the way, for those of you who don't remember what morph is, I'll read it really quick. You may cast this card face down as a 2/2 creature for 3 generic. Turn it face up anytime for its morph cost, and in this case, the morph cost is 4 generic and 2, so 6 mana to do this. But it's still pretty dang cool, right? Like, I think that's kind of cool. Let's see, man. I'm getting out of breath. This is just so exciting, guys. When Natsuko Vigilante, sure. Well, not when. Natsu. Man, I'm so sorry. I'm getting so wrapped up here. There's just 3 generic and green for this insect druid mutant with morph. It's another one of the morph cards. When it's turned face up, destroy target artifact or enchantment. Yeah, there you go. There you go. Oh, I don't know if you guys know this, but they're putting planeswalkers in the decks too. I'm pretty sure 1 each. And they're pretty. If they're all at least like this Veraska here, cool. I'm not the biggest fan of planeswalkers, but having 1 in each deck is still pretty cool. They have really increased like the overall power level of this deck. And according to the command zone, this is This one's really, really good and really consistent because you're just constantly drawing cards off Cadena. Anywho, if you don't know what Vraska does, I'll read her really quick. She's a 5 for 5 loyalty. That's really good. Until end of turn, whenever a creature deals combat damage to Vraska, the Unseen, destroy that creature. So for some reason, something attacks it. Boom, bam. Has 3 to destroy target non-land permanent. So you can play her, boom, destroy a thing that's really annoying. And her ultimate is create 3 1/1 black assassin creature tokens with whenever this creature deals combat damage to a player, that player loses the game. Boom. That's good, bro. I'm sorry, that's great. It's a reprint though, but I'm big fan of Vraska as a character, and this is one of her better cards. Holy cow! I should have got some water or something for all this. Apex Alistair. This is a big beefy boy right here. 7 generic, 2 green. When Alistar, excuse me, enters the battlefield, it fights up to 1 target creature you don't control. It has Enrage. Whenever this is dealt damage, it fights up to 1 target creature you don't control. So if your opponent just has a bunch of 1/1s, you just go boom, 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 boom. This dude stomps all over him. For you dinosaur tribal dudes out there, this is an auto include. It's very extremely flavorful, and it's just a freaking cool card, dude. Like, that's awesome. It feels like excuse me, they really missed the opportunity with the dinosaurs. I'm wrong. The ones in Ixalan and such are cool, but the new one from M20 is dope, and this one is insane. Like, they're doing great, dude. They're doing good stuff. Trail of Mystery. Right, yeah. 1 generic and green. It's an enchantment. Whenever a face-down creature enters the battlefield under your control, you may search your library for a basic land card, reveal it, put it into your hand, then shuffle your library. Do you need to hear more from that? Well, you do, because there's more to the card. Whenever a permanent you control is turned face up, if it's a creature, it gets +2/+2 until end of turn. Bro, that's really good. This is... Let's just move on. It's good. And I actually really like the art. Like, this weird... All the morph cards have this, like, morph aura thing going through. It's really sick. Chrome Shell Crab. A lot of alliteration going on there. 4 generic and 1 blue for a crab beast creature with morph. 4 generic and a blue for the morph cost. When Chrome Shell Crab is turned face up, you may exchange control of target creature you control and target creature an opponent controls. I'm working on a Yasova deck. I literally have most of it put together right here. Here she is. Great little card here. And I probably will put this in there just because it's a creature, and the deck itself is actually pretty creature light, I noticed. It's mostly, I mean, there's not creature light, but this is just going to fit really well into that deck. And... Oh, guys. There's so many good cards to talk about. I'm sorry. This is just going to go right into the deck because it's not like it's not creature light, but all the creatures basically rely on your opponents having a creature, and so does this, but at least you can use it at a later date. And that's great, because having this early game would suck otherwise, which is the problem with Yasova in general, is like, you kind of have to dirtle around until your opponents start playing stuff, and at that point you might be in trouble. And this is going to fit perfectly in that kind of deck. It's also just going to go good in the bug deck in general. Den Protector. Oh, what were people calling this? Maternal Witness when it first got printed. And I think the first video I released, this was one of the cards I was saying people need to, and Death Raptor down here, maybe look at that bad boy. Were 2 cards I was saying if they don't put these in the deck, you might want to pick them up. Not that they would go up super much in a value or anything, but they could, and you... Anyway, they put them in the deck anyway, and that's great. Whatever. Oh, let's read what Den Protector does. Creatures with power less than Den Protector can't block it. It's a 2/1, by the way, for 2. It's a human warrior. Has Megamorph. When Den Protector is turned face up, return target card from your graveyard to your hand. It's good, bro. It's really good. And you're drawing a card off this, by the way. If you don't remember what Condena does, face down cards, you cast 1 for free every turn. Well, at least the morph cost is... It's reduced by 3 for 1 every turn. So you draw a card off this, and then you flip it over. Boom. that's really good. Uh, thieving owl amalgam. Sure. 5 generic, 2 black for a creature ape snake. Ape snake. Let's get a shout out for the ape snake. At the beginning of each opponent's upkeep, you manifest the top card of that player's library. Huh. Whenever a creature you control but don't own dies, its owner loses 2 life and you gain 2 life. Cool. Ape snake. Ape snake's cool. We got another one of the commanders that's going to be in this deck. I imagine this dude's going to be all foiled out too, which is, or maybe not, maybe not. We'll see. Hopefully, I would love to see this dude in foil. Look at the freaking. I love this kind of like Lorwyn style art. I wish it was. I hope it's foil at least, because this would look super sick in foil. That green like mist going through this guy. Let me read the card first before I get too distracted. I'm all about this kind of stuff here. Grismold the Dread Sower is 1 in Golgari, which is black and green. Legendary creature, troll, shaman, trample. At the beginning of your end step, so the turn you play this dude, each player creates a 1/1 plant token, green plant token. Okay. Whenever a creature token dies, put a +1/+1 counter on Grismold the Dread Sower. So this dude's like half token, half token, half you could play Voltron with this dude and do just fine. This dude, you could do kind of like a group huggy with this dude. I want to build this guy. This looks a lot of fun. I have a Golgari deck with a Hapatra, but I'm thinking of slipping her into one of the oh, there's another legendary creature that's coming out that I think we'll get to him later. I looked at it. We'll talk about it when we get there. Bane of the Living is 2 generic and 2 black. Creature insect, morph X, and 2 black. When Bane of the Living is turned face up, all creatures get -X until end of turn. This is Toxic Deluge on a stick. Excuse me. This is. I want 1,000,000 of these. I want these in everything. I'm sure there will be a point in my play group where people are like, we know what that is. Destroyed. That's the Toxic Deluge thing. But I want this. It's a little trickier to play. And obviously more expensive because you have the initial cost of 3. But in this specific deck, it's a free. You get the 3 for free, so you just, boom, plump that bad boy on the ground. But I love this. I absolutely love this card. Raptor, we talked about this dude already. It has Death Touch and can be brought back a lot. That's all you really need to know. It's just a really good blocker, essentially. Strionic Resonator. This card is, I have like 5 or 6 copies of this because it fits in a lot of decks. It is ubiquitous. That's it's the cool part about artifacts. It's 2 generic, and 2 generic to activate this artifact. To tap, copy target, triggered ability you control. You may choose new targets for the copy. There's an endless list of things you can do this with, I want you to know. We could sit here all day and talk about the ridiculous applications of this card. Let me look. I think if Sova can do it too. Yeah, you can copy her steal ability if you want. Anything, really. Well, not anything, but... And it does have to be... Oh, excuse me, that's an activated ability. It has to be a triggered ability. But, again, there's still like a billion lists, dude. Like, this card is so good. It's not expensive either, but... I'm happy to see it in this deck to get more people playing it because it is so cool what this thing can do. You can target your opponent's abilities too. I want you to know. And you control. Scratch that last part. I don't think I've ever copied an opponent's ability, but they would have smacked me in the face if I did anyway. I'm an idiot living on the hype right now. Just let's move to the next card. Just know this card's great and you should play it in more decks. Vesuvian Shapeshifter. It's a reprint. And it's great. It's a shapeshifter. It enters the battlefield. 3 generic and 2 blue for creature shapeshifter. As Vesuvian Shapeshifter enters the battlefield or is turned face up, you may choose another creature on the battlefield. If you do, until end of turn, until Vesuvian Shapeshifter is turned face down again, it becomes a copy of that creature, except it has, at the beginning of your upkeep, you may turn this creature face down. So you can just flip-flop this dude around until you... for the best thing on the board, or best creature on the board. Oh my god, I'm dying. I need to breathe. Gift of Doom, 4 generic, 1 black. Whoop. Enchantment aura, enchant creature. Enchanted creature has death touch and indestructible. Why not? That's good. It has morph, a morph enchantment. Sacrifice another creature. Okay, that's its morph cost. That's pretty sick. As Gift of Doom is turned face up, you may attach it to a creature. It's pretty good. Volrath. This was the dude I was talking about. I just want to turn my Hapatra deck and just slide in a little bit of blue. Just it's 2 in bug. Legendary creature shapeshifter. At the beginning of combat on your turn, put a -1/-1 counter on one target creature. Make a snake if you have Hapatra out. 1 to activate this ability. Until end of turn, Volrath the Shape Stealer becomes a copy of target creature with a counter on it. This could be any counter, by the way. Except it's a 7/5 and has this ability. And you get to use this like the turn this dude comes into play too, for if you had the extra mana to do so, the 1 extra mana to do so, because it's the beginning of combat on your turn. So you play this dude on your main phase, combat, -1/-1 counter on that thing. Boom, there you go, and it doesn't copy its power and toughness, so keep that in mind. It says it on the card, but RTFC, which if you didn't know is read the effing card. It's one of my favorite little sayings in Magic. The dude who taught me is famous to me at least for saying so. Ixodron. This is another one of those cards that more people should be playing, and I actually have like these 2 cards in a lot of decks, or not a lot of decks, but at least a couple of decks. Ixodron enters the battlefield. Oh, excuse me. It costs 3 generic and 2 blue to cast this dude. As Ixodron enters the battlefield, turn all other non-token creatures face down. There are 2/2 creatures. Ixodron's power and toughness are each equal to the number of face down creatures on the battlefield. It's not quite a board wipe, but it does change the face of the game for a minute, and it's pretty cool what happens. New art on this too, by the way. Scroll of Fate, 3 generic artifact. You just tap it, manifest the top card of your library. It's not bad. Little quote from Ugin down here, and I'm pretty sure the new Ugin does essentially manifest your library too. Pendant of Prosperity, 3 generic. When it enters the battlefield, under the control of an opponent of your choice. Then it has an activated ability of 2, tap, draw a card, then you may put a land card from your hand onto the battlefield. Pendant of Prosperity, his owner, which would be the person who played the card and gave it to your opponent, you draw a card, and that player, also you, may put a land card from your hand onto the battlefield. So you and an opponent do this. And I want to put this in Zancha, because this is the kind of silly, bonker stuff Zancha does. Whatever. I love this card, and I want 1,000,000 copies of it for all of my decks. I hope my opponent would be cool to use it, though. We got a foreign card. We got 2. 3. I know what these 3 are, though. I checked it earlier. This is the stuff I saw this morning. Right about here is where I was this morning, I believe. Yeah. I think I was here this morning, and I was like, okay, that's all the spoilers. Or maybe the Vesuvian Shapeshifter was here, and then everything else is just like, whoa, look at all these crazy new cards and crazy reprints. Way of Return, 2 generic, or not 2 generic, 2 green. It's a sorcery. You choose 1. Return a permanent card from your graveyard to your hand. That's good. Put your commander into your hand from the command zone in Twine 2. This is going in everything that has green in it. This is going to Modrotha because, man, when she dies twice, you're paying like 20,000 mana to recast her. And let me tell you, that's when you're not having fun in Modrotha. And people will just sit there and keep destroying it. Any commander, or any deck that's relying on the commander, not that necessarily Modrotha is, but it is a lot more fun when you're just casting stuff over and over again from your graveyard. This will help so freaking much. You do have to cast it from your hand again, but I actually really like the way that this is casted because it's 2, which is the commander tax. Each time your commander dies, you would pay 2 generic more to cast your commander, and I think that's what they're going with here, and I like that. I like that a whole lot. There's like a big win here. Big win. We got Thespian Stage, which was recently reprinted in Uma. Ultimate Masters. It taps for, if you don't know, this is a great inclusion into this deck, and I'm putting it in your Sova because it copies. Let's read the card. Tap to add a generic to your mana pool, whatever, and has 2 untap. Thespian Stage becomes a copy of target land and gains this ability. So it becomes Gaia's Cradle, but you can change it to Solarian Academy or something if for some reason you wanted to do that. It's a good card, dude. You can't really go wrong with this in your deck on the off chance someone has just a really good land. Or like a bounce land or something. I don't know if when it becomes a copy of a bounce land that it would bounce one of your lands. I don't think it is because it's not coming into play. It's already in play. You look at the rulings on that. I'm not a judge. I barely know what I'm talking about, dude. I'm just an excited nerd who likes this silly card game. And Sudden Exchange is the other foreign card here. 2 and 2 generic and 2 blue. It's an instant with split second. Great mechanic for commander. Exchange control of target non-creature spell and target creature. You may choose new targets for the spell. So, counter your spell and take your best creature with my worst. I'm guessing that's how this would work. The art on it's pretty crazy. Noah Bradley, you're a madman. I like this card. It's going in Yasova. Like all these cards for some reason are just going in the deck I just finished building. Oh, we got Ryami, First of the Fallen, which is one of the other foil commander in this. First of the Fallen, it's 1 in bug. Legendary creature vampire. Weird to see a bug vampire. And if you don't know what I mean by bug, maybe I should have explained this the first time. It's black, blue, and green. Blue is represented with a U instead of another B because black would be B, and green obviously is green. That's where bug comes from. That bug existed before Sultai. Sultai came around with the cons of Tarkir stuff. And Sultai's fine, but bug is funnier to say, so I'm going to say bug. If a non-creature would die, if a non-token creature would die, exile that creature with a blood counter on it. As long as an exiled creature with a blood counter on it has flying, Royami, First of the Fallen, has flying. The same is true for First Strike, Double Strike, Death Touch, Haste, Hexproof, Indestructible, Lifelink, Menace, Protection, Reach, Trample, and Vigilance. This is a weird... This would be hard to build around, but I actually think it's pretty cool. I really like this guy. Art's pretty crazy. It's also weird to see a bug vampire. It's just so strange. But I like it. I like it a lot. We got a few more. These are the few I was talking about. I reviewed these, okay? They showed up the face commanders. And by the way, I want to confirm, they confirmed it yesterday, I believe, that this is the other commander pre-con deck. It's just going to be 2 colors while the others are 3 colors. I think that's really weird. I don't know why they chose to do that. And I believe I actually said I want another... I said Jeskai when this is Jeskai. I wanted Grixis. Grixis Madness would have been sick. It would have been so sick to have another Grixis commander that's probably going to be really good, that does this anyway. Her thing, dude, you literally get to go through your whole deck. I really underestimated this thing being really good. Dude, anyway, let's get back to the new cards. I don't think I talked about these 3. I'm going to talk about him again anyway, because daddy issues over here. I'm loving this guy. Carrick, Son of Yawgmoth. It's 4 generic and 3 Phyrexian black mana, which if you don't know, Phyrexian black mana can be paid with 2 life for each of the pips, or 1 black mana. And he has lifelink, he's a 2/2. For each black mana, for each black pip in a cost, you may pay 2 life rather than pay that mana. Whenever you cast a black spell, put a +1/+1 counter on Son of Yawgmoth. Oh! So this in Yillis, you draw so many cards off of this guy in Yillis together. Listen, I don't know how many of you know what Grey Merchant of Asphodel is. It is one of my absolute favorite pet cards. It came out during the cons, Theros, or not cons, I think it was Theros, Born of the Gods, etc. That block. And that card, with this deck, when it enters the battlefield, I believe it's it's a devotion card. So you deal X damage and gain X life, where X is your devotion to black, to each of your opponents. Not just an opponent, each of your opponents. Oh! Oh! Man, that's spicy with this and Yillis. Son of Yawgmoth here, son of daddy issues, in his scene phase, extra spiky, edgy looking bro here. Wow. Just wow. I really want to build this guy with Yillis, or Yillis is the commander and this guy just somewhere in the deck, because tutor this guy up, then you just win the game. I'm sorry. That's so good. Sanctum of Eternity, add generic. It's a land. You add one generic to your mana pool when you tap it, or you can pay 2 and tap it. Return target commander you own from the battlefield to your hand. Activate the ability only during your turn. So you can't save it from like a board wipe on your opponent's turn, or something like that. But this is still pretty solid, I think. Maybe. Yeah, for Flicker commanders, this is gross. This is really gross. For any commander you have to tap, this lets you untap it and play it again if you have just a buttload of mana and don't have any untappy stuff. Leadership Vacuum, that's a weird name for a card. 2 generic and 1 blue, it's an instant. Oh my god, I thought I wasn't recording for a second, that scared me. Target player returns each commander they control from the battlefield to the command zone and draw a card. I like that it says each for all the partner commanders, like the planeswalkers and just previous partner commanders. This is good. This is good. Oh, I'm belching. Excuse me. Oh my good golly. What is coming over me? Scare Tiller. It's 4 generic for an artifact creature. Scarecrow! For all you Scarecrow fans out there. Whenever Scare Tiller, I hope I'm saying that right, becomes tapped, choose 1. You may put a land card from your hand onto the battlefield tapped, or return target land from your graveyard to the battlefield tapped. I mean, it's ubiquitous because there's no color identity in this. It's a colorless artifact creature Scarecrow, and it can help you put more lands onto the battlefield than colors that have a hard time doing that. You have to have them in your hand or in the graveyard, but that's pretty good. Like, I have a hard time complaining about something like that. It's kind of slow, it's kind of weird, kind of wonky. You have to tap it to do this kind of thing, so you're either attacking or having some tappy shenanigans. But that's fine. That's good. We got God, I think this is the first time we've seen Gerard in well before I started playing the game. Let's just say that Gerard Weatherlight Hero is 2 generic in Boros, red and white. Legendary creature, human soldier. Quick, let's take a quick break. This art is insane. Holy cow, what is going on here? Zach Stella, who are you? You are a legend. What is going on here, man? Gerard here has first strike, and whenever he dies, exile it and return it to the battlefield all artifacts and creature cards in your graveyard that were put there from the battlefield this turn. Oh, excuse me, I left out return to the battlefield all artifacts and creatures in your graveyard that were put there from the battlefield this turn. This is board wipe protection, my friends, in Boros. Put this in Feather. Put this in Gissa. Put this in your Boros decks. This saves you. This is what you need. He is the hero you need. He is the hero Ravnica needed. I think we're good. This went by faster than I thought it would. I don't know how long the video was. I can't quite see recording over here. But dude, Wizards, you kind of had me. You had me worrying with the. Oh wait, what is going on down? Oh, this is M20 stuff. I was like, what? Okay, but that's just M20 stuff. Oh wow, we scrolled way too far. We scrolled way too far. No. Okay, let's. Oh, wait, what is that? Judge promos. Okay. Anyway, they had me a little worried with the face commanders here because they're not exciting. They're not bad. You know, I was just disappointed. They don't really do anything that's like, holy cow. I mean, Angie here is pretty cool, and Kendena here is really sick. And the 2 cards that came with them, like their face spells, are also really cool. But I was pretty like, oh man, only 2 commander decks. I was like, oh man, is this really just gonna be the one? But and look, does this not look like Jake Sully here from Avatar? By the way, I was thinking that earlier today. I was looking at this card. I was like, that's Jake Sully. That's Jake Sully from Avatar. But I was happy to see the Seedboard and reprint. The some of these other cards are really cool. But man, they when I saw these, I was just like, whoa, what does this do? Daddy issues, but cool. Gerard being board wipe protection, and then today happened, and they were like, here's the whole dang boom bam ba doom da boom here. There's one more thing I want to look over really quick. Good job, by the way. This is awesome. If you want, please look at the sources on these. I'm at mythicspoiler.com. Not sponsored or anything, but this is the web. Oh, excuse me. Hurry. This is the website I come to for spoilers and checkups and whatever. But over here on El Mother Shipperino, they spoiled the whole dang deck list. They put it all up. So there's a whole 1.5 million cards over here to talk about. Like, holy cow, you know? Bane of the Living, and we talked about that. Grim Horror specs. I mean, holy cow, you know? Oh gosh, I only really want to bring this up because there's a couple of interesting reprints. Like, I'd be here all day if I talked about this whole deck. There's a lot of really good reprints in here. I'm just talking about a few, and then I'm going to talk about the land base, because the land base is gross. It's not gross, but it's really dang good. Temp with Discovery. This is one of my favorite commander cards ever. There's always one or two people that are going to take this card, and if at least one other person does, you are getting 2 lands, not just basics, any dang lands, and putting them smack dab right onto the battlefield. And if that happens, dude, it feels so good. So I am so happy to see this card reprinted. It's not like it's grossly expensive, but it was out of my... I'm not a budget player or anything, but I do my best not to just... I get the core of the deck and slowly build up like the key pieces like this into my decks like over time. I want the things that'll make it work, and then the things that really make it work as I go about it. I try to trade for things like this. Fortunately, this is going to drop the price. I'm going to buy up plenty of copies. Plenty of copies. Let's see. Reality Shift, great reprint. Putrefy, happy to see it in here. Hex is one of the first cards I put in my commander decks. It's not good, but I thought it was good. You just destroy 6 target creatures for 6 mana. Dude, they put like such a good amount of like the necessary ramp cards in here too. Really excited to see that. But the land base is what I want to talk about, dude. Like, they got the filter lands in here. Exotic Orchard is pricey. The pain lands, really excited to see these in here. I don't have any. They're all about $2, $3, $4 a pop. Shrine of the Forsaken Gods is fine. First, I'm pretty sure these are called buddy lands or check lands, whatever. 2 basic lands. And I don't know if you noticed this. I was going to point to it, but you wouldn't see it anyway. They have the dual land types on them. So if you have a card that says go get an island or go get a forest, you can go grab one of these too. And that's great. Thespian Stage went over. Yavimaya Coast, another pain land. Ash Barrens was getting up there in price for the Pauper players. This is like it has basic land cycling for 1, so you discard this and go get a basic. Fixes your mana up for you real good. Bazooka Bug, happy to see it. Command Tower, always happy to see you around, baby. The bounce lands, you can never go wrong. Just some generic tappity tap lands. Myriad Landscape, always happy to see you. Thank God I knew that they were gonna put these in here anyway. But the Cons Tri lands are great. Reliquary Tower, great. Another bounce land. Guild Gates, Temple of the False God, great. Fall, blah, blah. Dude. And Soul Ring. Oh God, I almost forgot. Thrawn Dynamo is like $3, $4, $5 a pop in here, and they just threw it right in this deck. Like, here you go. So happy to see that in here. Holy cow. Bounty of Lux is a card more people need to be playing. I'm actually sad that it's in here because it doesn't have the chance to go up in value. I don't have 1 million of them or anything. I have like 4 because I don't have many cards or many decks in this color type. Gosh, dude, they knocked it out of the park with this precon. Therese Nielsen did the old art. Why do I keep trying to point? Therese Nielsen did the old art for Ixodron, by the way, and I think it looks like pretty creepy. Any more? Oh gosh, Seb McKinnon did the wonderful art on Grim Horror Specs here, and I love it. I think that's all of the necessary cards I felt like talking about. Yeah, there's nothing else really here. If you want, please go check out Mythic Spoiler for when they talk about new cards before they put it up on the mothership. I'll leave links to both of these in the comments below. Guys, tell me you're excited. Tell me you are. Try to tell me you're not excited for these. This is gross, dude. Like, look at the land base. Look at those lands. These alone. I don't know why I make all these random noises. Guys. If you even made it this far in the video, congratulations. Thank you. This is probably going to be another long one. Good job. Good job, Wizards. You did a good job with this deck. I'm really looking forward to the other ones. Just good job, dude. Just good job. I'm bad at ending videos, guys. So I'll see you later.